Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com back with some Pittsburgh Steelers news and analysis for you. Busy day two of unofficial start of free agency. New league year officially kicks off tomorrow, Wednesday at 4 p.m., but already a lot of Steelers news to go over. And just a free agency caveat, this video being recorded around 7:30 Eastern time on Tuesday night. I'm sure more news will and can break throughout the rest of the night and certainly into Wednesday. So we'll keep you posted on any other Steelers developments that are sure to occur. Let's start though with the Pittsburgh Steelers players who are no longer Pittsburgh Steelers. There are three of them on Tuesday. We'll start with the player they released of their own choosing. That was Vince Williams, and that was an announcement that came this afternoon. Not a big shock. If there was going to be any cap casualty, it wasn't going to be Joe Hayden. It wasn't going to be David DeCastro. It was most likely to be Vince Williams, and it was. They got really tight against the cap after the Zach Banner re-signing, which we'll talk about in a moment. And so the most likely and obvious place to replenish some of that cap space was by releasing Vince Williams. Saves a little over $3 million in cap space post roster displacement for 2021. So it hurts. It sucks. I've always been a big Vince Williams fan. He's kind of a throwback dude, guy that could have played with Lambert and Ham back in the '70s if he grew up then. I mean, he was just an old school thumper, a good leader, heart and soul of that defense, along with Cam Hayward and others. But he was the most expendable guy, and he wasn't a three-down player. Devin Bush hopefully will be back for Week One next year. He should be the three-down guy again. Robert Spillane played well in relief. Devin Bush before his own knee injury, and it's just a position that doesn't carry as much value right now. So Vince will, I'm sure, sign with somebody. I don't know when or where that'll be, but that's just a necessary reality. And had there not been the pandemic and the COVID issue, then probably you keep Vince. But if you needed to come up with some extra cap space, Vince was the logical place for that to come from. So it sucks. 6 round pick that's been in the league for 8 years is pretty rare, and he'll keep playing. So it might be 9 or 10 years he'll be in the league for. But that is just the harsh reality of the NFL. And so, assuming Spillane becomes the starter, at least he is right now, in terms of depth behind him, you have UG3, though his back issues seem chronic, and you really can't depend on him for much. You do have Marcus Allen, who made the switch to inside linebacker from strong safety this past training camp. He'll have a whole offseason to prepare, learn the position better, probably add a little bit of weight in the process as well. And I imagine as we sit here today, they will add an inside linebacker on day three of the draft. I don't know exactly who that could be. Watch out for KJ Britt out of Auburn. He seems like a Vince Williams type of clone. So if they want another Vince Williams, someone that's cheaper and can play on special teams, KJ Britt could be the guy. There is an off chance this team could take a big swing at the position if they want to go after a Micah Parsons or a Zaven Collins or the kid out of Notre Dame JOK. That's a potential possibility if they really want to swing for the fences, talking, first round, but I find that more unlikely because I do really believe that their focus in the early rounds will be on improving the offensive line, specifically improving the run game, whether that's running back, center, still potentially offensive tackle, though that's looking less and less likely. But if the board falls right or wrong, if they want to go after someone like a Zaven Collins, that would be a really good scheme fit for the Steelers. All right, on to the players who are no longer Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Hilton going to the Cincinnati Bengals. Good for Mike Hilton. Really, really glad that he got paid. It's been a long time coming for him. He got stuck on the exclusive rights and restricted free agent, circuit, and really couldn't cash in despite his desire for an extension. And now he gets paid a 4-year, $24 million deal with the Bengals. Money was a little bit lighter than what I thought. And you could argue, you paid Cam Sutton was at 4.5. Hilton got 6. Could you have made it work? Maybe, but and I don't know all the details of the Hilton contract right now, but it seems like the Hilton contract is much more front loaded than what Sutton got. So in terms of guaranteed money and first year money, I think there's a pretty substantial difference between what Hilton and Sutton got, I believe, as we sit here today. So it isn't as close as it may seem on paper. But Hilton, a great player for the Steelers. I do wonder if the Bengals will use him the way the Steelers did. Pittsburgh's such a blitz happy, aggressive, defense. Will that fit well with other defenses that might not be as aggressive? So there's some concern about how that skill set's translated. We'll see how the Bengals use him, but that's a big loss for the Steelers. Of course, they did sign or re-sign Cam Sutton, so they'll have their starting slot corner to replace Mike Hilton, but Hilton was just a unique guy that could play in nickel against 12 personnel occasionally, and just a dude that was so good versus the run, a great blitzer. Really flourished in this aggressive at times, creative blitz scheme by Keith Butler and Mike Tomlin. So certainly loss for Pittsburgh, not unexpected. There really wasn't much hope he was going to stay in Pittsburgh, and the signing of Sutton yesterday basically cemented that fact. But Mike Hilton now a member of the Bengals. Here's the move that surprised me: Tyson Alualu going to Jacksonville. I thought for sure, I not for sure, but I was pretty confident he was going to circle back to Pittsburgh. But obviously, that's not happening now. He signs a 2-year, $6 million deal to be a member of the Jaguars, former team of his, first round pick of them back in, what was it, 2010, I believe, and that's a pretty big loss for Pittsburgh. I thought he was really going to come back, and now you have to ask yourself who is going to be the nose tackle for the Steelers in 2021. And I don't have a good answer for you right now on who that's going to be. Is it going to be Carlos Davis, second year guy, a seventh round pick last year out of Nebraska? I mean, he showed a little bit as a rookie, but I don't know if you want to pass the torch to him right away. Will they add an outside free agent? That probably seems more likely at this point. I could give you names like Steve McClendon, former Steeler, do the reunion thing with him. Christian Covington, I think, makes some sense, a veteran guy. Some people said Danny Shelton, though he got cut with a failed physical, so I don't know if there's an injury issue with him in Detroit right now. Or somebody else, a Trevin Hester from Philadelphia, that is an option, I think, as well. And I know, nose tackle is not the position it once was, but the Steelers were still in base over a third of the time last year, and you're playing in an AFC North of Baltimore and Cleveland, two of the best rushing attacks in football. So you better stop the run to win the North. We saw how bad the run defense was at times last year, including the playoff loss to Cleveland. So having that nose tackle is still going to be really important. Oluwalu played great last year, and one of it, maybe his best year of his career, which is crazy to say for a 33-year-old. But he goes back to Jacksonville, and Pittsburgh's now looking for a nose tackle. The one player the Steelers did retain was offensive tackle Zach Banner. Now, re-signing Banner is not a surprise. We basically knew he was going to come back and compete for a starting job in Pittsburgh. What did surprise me though is the contract he got. I thought it was going to be a 1-year type deal, low level money. He would compete for starting job and then try to hit the mega contract after this season, especially coming off the torn ACL. That did not happen. He took a 2-year deal worth about $10 million, a little bit under, with a fairly significant chunk of change of that being guaranteed. And so that tells me that he's going to be a starting tackle for Pittsburgh in 2021. They're not going to pay him that kind of money to be a backup, and he's not going to take a you know longer term deal, even if it is just 2 years, to be a backup. So he's going to be starting tackle, probably a starting left tackle. I think a core four is going to stay at right tackle, Banner at left tackle, and so that I think reduces the odds of them taking a tackle at number 24. The focus really shifts to center or running back. As for my reaction to Banner resigning specifically, it's just hard to tell. I mean, he's a guy that just hasn't played a lot of football. In 2019, he was used as a six offensive lineman, and I thought did a good job there. But in terms of making a longer term commitment to him with a fairly decent amount of money involved, there's only been one game in Zach Banner's NFL career where he's played more than 25 snaps in one game, and that was the Week One game last season where he tore his ACL versus the Giants. So we just don't have much of a resume on Banner, especially as a starting offensive tackle. So there's a commitment there that I don't know how it's going to go, and I don't think the Steelers can confidently say which way it's going to go. Now, Banner's proved a lot of people wrong. He almost fell out of the league. His weight was super high. He's worked extremely hard to get back in the league, to get his weight down, to make a roster, make an impact, and of course, he's working his way back from that ACL right now when he should be good to go for Week One. So that itself is not a concern, but there is just a lot of unknown there, and I was surprised by the Steelers' approach. Obviously, that signals confidence in Zach Banner. I don't know if that's the route that I would have taken, but we'll see. And certainly, we'll get the chance to be proven right or proven wrong, or something else about Zach Banner, because he's going to start in 2021 probably as your left tackle, and we'll go from there. Now, it is still sort of a prove it type deal, because I imagine the way the contract is structured is. It's a backloaded contract, more money there in the second year. So if it doesn't work out this year, you could probably cut him pretty easily and then bring somebody else in. But for 2021, and for him to prove it, he's going to have to play, and he's, I think, almost guaranteed to be your starter Week One against whoever the opponent is. So those are my thoughts on the Steelers' moves of the day so far. Still, I'm sure a lot more information to come in. What's going to happen to Juju and James Conner, Alejandro Villanueva? What outside free agents the Steelers hopefully sign? Who knows what's going to happen there? And some lower level guys like Jordan Berry, Sean Davis, Jordan Dangerfield, etc. So certainly not even close to the end of free agency. In fact, it'll officially start tomorrow, Wednesday at 4 p.m. But would love to know your thoughts about Vince Williams and Mike Hilton, Tyson Alualu, and the re-signing of Zach Banner. So let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you soon.